Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, February the 13th, 2021. It is currently 11:51 a.m. Central Time, and I am still here at Victory Baptist Church located in Ovalo, Texas. I can't say the weather is getting any worse outside. I think there's kind of like this, maybe this little space where nothing is really falling. I don't see any ice falling. I just went over to the door to check everything. So I think the conditions are not getting any worse. So I thought I'm going to take this opportunity to try to record at least one more thing. I need to record like about 10 more things, but here I am. I'm going I may ultimately regret this, if you found out, hey, pastor on the way home dies in traffic accident because the roads were bad and he should have been at home. Well, that's going to be me. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But I will be very careful on my way back home, and hopefully everything is fine. But I knew that, look, with the winter storm warning, and I don't know if it's going to be as bad as they're predicting. I mean, when you start hearing blizzard, whiteout conditions for Texas, something's gone horribly, horribly wrong. I still am questioning it's going to get that bad, but I know that if it does, then this is it. This is my opportunity. So I'm doing everything I can to try to provide as much teaching as I can. But no matter how much I produce, no matter how much teaching I can come up with here, I'm still going to feel, you watch, tomorrow I'm going to feel absolutely guilty that it's Sunday and I'm not doing any teaching. I'm going to feel guilty, but I'm all I can do is what I can. So hopefully something I've done this morning. If you think about it, I really haven't done that much. That's what's so crazy is I'll come out here with this idea that I'm going to do 15 live broadcasts, and I never get to 15 because, well, then each broadcast takes an hour, but hopefully it's beneficial. All right. So are you ready? You ready for another Bible study exercise? All right. I love these Bible study exercises. So we've been in 1 John, and I think we did pretty good. I think when it was all said and done, I think that maybe it was rough at times, but that's the thing of the Bible study exercises. At times it's rough because we're just studying it together. But I got another one for you. All right. Are you ready? This one, instead of the 1 John, we're going to go to the Gospel of John, to a very famous passage of Scripture, one that you can probably quote from memory. But here's the thing with passages that are so simple, or I shouldn't say simple. The problem with passages that everyone seems to know and that everyone seems to quote is they're really good at quoting the passage, right? But when you say, okay, now tell me what that means practically. How do I do that? What does that look like? How does that work? And then people begin to stumble over themselves. It kind of like, well, you kind of do this. Well, you do. And you're like, well, you're not really helping me. You're just really, basically all you're doing is you keep quoting the verse in a different way, but you're not really telling me anything specific. I hate this when I listen to sermons. They'll quote some passage of Scripture and they'll say something about it, and everybody's like, amen. And I'm looking around going, no, not amen. What do we do with that? What does that look like? What do I do with that verse come Monday when I'm not sitting here listening to you preach? What do I do when the conference is over? What do I do? And I don't like, it's like when pastors say, you need to study the Bible, but they never teach anyone actually how to study the Bible. Or they give you these very vague principles, right? They don't give you actual methods of Bible study. That drives me crazy. Don't tell people to do something without telling them how to do it, what it looks like. You've got to give them more than that. And I think this is a passage that seems to be saying something powerful and important, but what does it look like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? What does it look like on a Saturday afternoon when there's ice and a blizzard coming your way? What does it look like? What does it do? How does it work? So that's what we're going to look at. All right, are you ready? The passage in question is John chapter 17. Now, I'm going to do this in a way that's really going to put a lot of the work on you again, all right? But here we go. I'm going to try. I got to stop myself from doing it, but here we go. John chapter 17, verse 17. John 17:17. Here, Jesus is praying here. If you go back to John chapter 17, verse 1, these words spake Jesus, and he lifted up his eyes to heaven and said, Father, the hour is come. This is Jesus praying. All right. And look what he says here in his prayer. sanctify them, all right, through thy truth. Thy word is truth. Right? Now let's go back a little ways to get some context here. All right? Look at John. How far back do we want to go? We'll go back to John 17:12. While I was with them in the world, I kept them in thy name. These that thou gavest me, I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition, that the scriptures might be fulfilled. Right? Speaking of his disciples, right? Other than Judas, right? And Judas was lost because it was fulfilled by the scriptures. That was supposed to happen. That's how it was supposed to happen. But God keeps them. And now come I to thee, and these things I speak in the world, that they might have my joy fulfilled in themselves. I have given them thy word, and the word I have given them thy word, and the world hath hated them, because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil. So he has given them his word, and the world hates them for that word, despises them. But Jesus doesn't pray that they should be taken out of the world, but they should be kept from the evil there, from inside the world. So in other words, he wants them to be in the world, but not of the world, kept from the evil of. How are we kept from the evil of this world? How are we kept from it? We'll continue reading. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. And then look at verse 17. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. Sanctify them. Now, the them specifically refers to his disciples. Now, we, by extension, usually apply that to ourselves. All right. Now, sometimes we have to be careful when we do that, but I think that there may be application definitely for us. Hey, look, he has given us his word. We have his word. Amen. The world hates us, should hate us for his word, not hate us because of the foolishness that we do, but hate us for his word. Now, we're not taken out of the world. We are to live in the world. So how are we going to be kept from the evil of this world? How are you and I going to be kept from the evil of this world? Well, it has to do with this idea of sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. The way we're going to be kept from the evil of this world has to be through this sanctifying thing that this idea of being sanctified, and the way this sanctification occurs is through the word of God. So what does it mean to sanctify them? Well, let's just do a little work really quick here. Let's just do a little work, right? Let's go to the Blue Letter Bible app. Let's open up John chapter 17. Let's go down to verse 17. And let's do this. Sanctify is this Greek word. Sanctify is this Greek word.
Strong's G37, hagiadzo. Hagiadzo.
Hagiadzo. Hagiadzo. Hagiadzo is the Greek word that is translated sanctify. Now, it is used 29 times. In the King James, it's used 29 times. It's translated the following manner: sanctify 26 times, hallow 2 times, be holy 1 time. So most of the time it's translated as sanctify. The Strong's definition is to make holy, purify or consecrate, to venerate, hallow, be holy, sanctify. So it's the idea to make holy, to purify something. So how are we going to be kept from the evil of this world? Lord, I've given them your word. The world hates you for that. I ask that you don't take them from outside of the world, but that you keep them from the evil of the world. How are we going to be kept evil from the world? How are we going to be made separate from the evil of the world? Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. It is through the word of God that we will be kept from the evil of this world. How does that work? Through this idea of sanctify, to be made holy. And it's through God's word. All right. Now, it's used it occurs 29 times and 26 verses. Now, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I think you should use the Blue Letter Bible app. Look up all the different times, or look at all the different places where hagiadzo is used. All right. And you already got the basic meaning. I'm not going to give away too much, but you should go through these 26 verses where it's used 29 times, and it's used in a lot of different ways. All right. I don't want to give anything away. You should go through all of them so that you have a good idea of what this word means to sanctify them. Sanctify them. Sanctify them. You've got to know what that means. Make sure you have a good understanding of what that means. So the first thing you need to do, look up John 17:17 in the Blue Letter Bible app. Tap on the verse 17. It'll pull up the interlinear. When you find the interlinear, look up sanctify. That will take you to this Greek word.
Strong's G37, hagiadzo. Hagiadzo.
Hagiazo. Look up all the information there. At the bottom, you're going to get a list of all the scriptures where hagiazo is used. Go through all of them, just briefly. You can skim them. Now, if you come to one that you think is very interesting, fine. But just look at it so that you can, and that's what I want you to do. After you read all of these scriptures, just write out a basic, very short sentence, paragraph, whatever you need, of what sanctify means. I want to make sure you have a correct understanding. Jesus is saying, sanctify them. What does it mean? You need to have a good understanding and just go through these quickly and say, okay, based off the way this hagiazo is used in the New Testament, here's what Jesus is saying. Do this for them. And how is it going to be done? Through his word. So first identify what it means for him to sanctify us, right? Make sure you have that down, right? Then secondly, this is where I really want you to put in the work. How does God's word sanctify us? I want you in a practical way. It's great to say, hey, sanctify us through your word, or through your truth. Your word is truth. So God's word is the very thing used to sanctify us. How does that work? Now, we really got to think about this, because there's lots of people who read the Bible, and we find out that their lives are not very sanctified, that they were living in all kinds of sin. So just simply reading the Bible doesn't sanctify you. Just reading it doesn't obviously that's it. You're good to go. You read it. You're going to be sanctified. How does it work? What has to be done for this process to actually take place? I'm going to look something up really quick. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to look. I'm curious of something, so I'm going to look up. I could go to Bible Hub, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to what I have here. John chapter 17. Okay. All right. All right, let's see here. They give 1, 2, 3. All right, this commentary, I'll just give you a hint of what they say. How does the word of God enable us to overcome the world? If God has given us his word to keep us from the world, right? To sanctify us, to keep us from the evil of this world. If God's word is the thing that sanctifies us, it's through his truth, and God's word is his truth, then they offer the following. It does this by, number one, God's word gives us joy. And this joy gives us strength to overcome. It gives us the joy to separate ourselves from the evil of this world. That's their argument. So it gives us joy. Number two, they offer, gives us assurance of his love. And because we have the assurance of his love, this keeps us from the evil, right? Number three, now this one, they say it gives us power. Now, we're right back to that whole idea that Christianity loves to teach. We have some power. That's always so dangerous. All right. Let's see if they give us anything else. No, that's yeah. But again, it just says this is what God's word gives us. Gives us joy, gives us an assurance of his love, and gives us power. Doesn't say exactly. So if I just take my Bible and I just start reading it, boom, 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 I just start reading it. Okay, boom. Now I have joy. Now I have an assurance of God's love. Now I have power. And now I almost dropped my Bible. And now I can overcome the world. Now I can withstand it. Again, that's not very helpful. That does not appear to be very helpful to me. I read. So if I just read it, I'm going to get joy. I'm going to get assurance of God's love, and I'm going to get power. That does not seem to be helpful. And that's what a lot of commentaries do. They don't really tell you how this works. How this works. Let me go back to John chapter 17, verse 17. Right? Hopefully I won't drop my Bible again. John, you heard all that boom, boom. You're like, what is going on? Now, I know I didn't have a seizure. It's just me dropping my Bible. All right, John 17, 17. Sanctify them through thy word, or sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. How does this work? How is God's word used in our sanctification? How does he use this to purify us, to separate us? There's got to be some specific things. I'm not so sure that, hey, it gives me joy, gives me an assurance of love, and it gives me power. I think I'm going to argue. I'll just throw out an idea. Would we agree? Would we agree that this? I feel like now. See, I'm doing this like that all the church is listening, and then they can jump into the chat at any time and tell me whether they agree or not. Probably no one's currently listening today, but that's okay. Would you agree that one of the ways God's word sanctifies us is that God's word identifies what sin is? Like you can't be kept away from evil if you don't know something is evil. God's word identifies sin. Now, that doesn't mean that ultimately we're going to be sanctified, but at least we have an idea that's sinful. Okay, I was thinking that today. That was sinful. I looked at that woman with lust. The Bible says that is sin. I did not turn the other cheek. I did not show love of my enemy. I've got bitterness in my heart. The constant study of God's word gives us the morality that informs us that is sin. That begins at least to sanctify us or set us apart, at least in our thinking. Hey, I know that's sin. Now, I may still do it, and I may still want to do it, but God's word at least informs me that it is wrong. I can't be set apart from something if I don't know that I need to be set apart. The more I read God's word, the more I'm reminded, oh, that's wrong. Oh, that's wrong. That way of thinking is wrong. That attitude is wrong. Oh, those words I just said were wrong. Those thoughts, I think that's the first way. It informs us. It informs us. Sometimes when you deal with the idea of a man's conscience, that it needs to be a well-informed conscience. And that sometimes within Catholicism, you talk about this, is that you have to inform someone's conscience through catechesis and through teaching them. You inform their conscience so that it is sensitive to sin. God's word is the thing that informs our conscience. It's the thing that should make us aware that something is sinful. You can't be separated. We can't be kept from the evil of the world until you clearly have an understanding that it is evil. I think God's word informs us that of what is evil. I think that's one of the key ideas. I'm not going to give any more. Because I'm getting ready to start doing the whole teaching for you. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to look up John 17:17 in the Blue Letter Bible app. Tap on the verse, bring up the interlinear. Click on the word for sanctify. Look up that Greek word. Look at all the places it is used, 26 times. Look at it, and then just simply write out on a piece of paper, here's the base. This is the basic Bible. This is taking how the Bible uses this Greek word. This is what sanctify means, right? Have a understanding. Now, if God is to sanctify us through his truth, and his word is truth, that means he's going to sanctify us through his word, then I need you to figure out how exactly does God's word sanctify you and keep you from the evil of this world. First, you got to identify what it means to sanctify. And then number two, you need to come up with exactly how it works. Now, you can write down how it's worked in your life, but just we need it to be very specific, not vague. Well, I read it, and there I'm good to go. It's got to be more than just reading it. You've got to do something with it. You think you've got to meditate on it. You got to think about it, but you got to be specific. Specifically, I think it informs me of what is wrong. I think that's the first step. Here's God's word. That's wrong. All right, then I take a step back. That's wrong. It's got to do the informing of what is wrong. All right? Yeah, there's some other ideas I have there. I'll stop right there. I've got to stop myself. Because I'm trying to give these as Bible study exercises so people can work on them. This is where I beg you, I plead with you, all of the people who listen, let me know what you come up with. Here's how God's word sanctifies us. And see if you can clearly articulate. Try not to be vague. Try to be specific. All right? And then we'll come back to this at a later time. All right? Sounds good? I'm going to stop right there. There's your Bible study exercise for John chapter 17, verse 17. I got more here. Yeah, yeah. I was just thinking. There's another passage that I think, is it Ephesians 5? Yeah, Ephesians 5:26. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. There's another verse that, hey, Christ is going to cleanse the church through the washing of the water, of the washing of the word. He cleanses us through the washing of the word. Exactly what does that look like? Exactly how does that work? It's the same idea. He's going to sanctify us and keep us from the evil of the world through his word. How is that going to work? Again, I think the first way is by informing us of what is wrong. But what are the other specific ways God's word sanctifies us? And it's got to involve more than just reading it. It has to. But I'll leave it right there. Yeah, I keep telling myself, and then I want to come back to the microphone and stop and start again. But there you go. All right, I am going to stop. Email me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. That's newsif@yahoo.com. Everyone have a great day. God bless.